Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio begins now. Hear the best in new music, artist interviews, stories from the road, and more. You are now backstage, and here's your host, Mothership.
Hey everybody, catching up with what's happening with Behold the Beloved this week, and we have a lot to cover. Sean Green of Behold the Beloved, I haven't interviewed you in 2 years. We have to talk about some stuff because you've been busy boy and your band has been busy. Where do you want to start?
Wherever you want to start. You are the boss. You are the driver, Miss Frizzle. Let's go.
Okay, then. Let's take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. Let's talk about the singles, because you got these 2 singles that came out. You worked with Josiah and Andrew from Disciple on them. So tell us about them.
We decided to branch out. We've been talking to Josiah for a while, and at first we were kind of like hesitant because we were writing our own music, and we love what God was doing with that. And, there's always that thing. It's like if you get somebody else to help you co-write, it's kind of cheating. And we had to just like work past that. And we got a lot of guidance from other artists and to be like, you have to look at it. It broadens your music. It brings in new creative ideas that keeps your music fresh. And you just learn about everything during that time. You're not just writing music. You're building a connection, building relationships. So we took that and ran with it. We're like, these are 2 guys that we want to build a relationship with more than what we already have. And who better to do it than with Josiah and Andrew? So we decided to go co-writing and then make a trip to Nashville to actually record at the Ranch and at Dive Bomb Studios. So it was an awesome experience. And those guys are, man, they're not just great musicians. Like they are genuine, kind guys with a heart for God and a heart to help other artists make them sound as best they could. We were writing Toxic Lullabies, and Josiah and Andrew goes, yeah, I think Kevin's going to get mad that we gave this one away because it was cool. We came up with the songs like Toxic. We had almost like more than halfway written, and they kind of helped fill the gaps or change certain lines, and then they helped with melodies and making demos. Power Play, we literally wrote. We had one line, and then we had the idea, and we all wrote that together, which is cool because we're all hockey fans. So we're like, all right, how are we going to approach this without it not making it cheesy, but also still putting hockey stuff, but still making a song of encouragement and empowerment and all this kind of thing. So it was a cool experience.
Toxic Lullaby is so catchy. Tell us a little bit about that song, what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason has been writing, just like he did the No Surrender record, he's been writing mostly all the record. We found out just, where everybody's weaknesses and strengths are, and his strength is definitely writing, and God gives him so many ideas, and then he likes to tackle certain topics that we feel like might be out there or just artists kind of don't touch on. And Toxic Lullabies was one just to really talk about false prophets and false teachings, and we really feel like we're now entering in a world more than ever where false teaching is very easy to get tripped up by. If you have an Instagram account, if you have a Facebook account, you have all these social media platforms, you see these random churches or random celebrity pastors speaking. And if you kind of listen to exactly what they're speaking on, it's not really biblical. And then there's these other areas that you see that is absolutely blasphemy. And for somebody who doesn't know who Christ is, walking into some of these churches, they kind of just take whatever they hear the person in the pulpit, whatever they say, as God's word. And we're trying to encourage the listener to don't fall asleep to that. Don't let them suppress you with their ideas and really hinder you from what God really has for you. We are trying to encourage people to really dig into the word yourself, to know the word yourself, so then you can really, take the next steps that you need to with Christ. We're not saying that there's no room for pastors or there's no need for them. What we're trying to say is, like Disciples said it in Darkness Dies, I'm just a man and I'll let you down if you give me a chance. Like we ourselves, we're just human and we make mistakes and we have our own ideas. And sometimes, we don't know everything. So you can hear what we say and see what we say and apply what you need to. Really dig into the Bible yourself, really say what God is saying in the word. To really take you to the next step. The truth is the truth, and that's what you need to go by.
Power Play. Tell us the plot of Power Play, Mr. Hockey Man.
I hope I do a better job explaining this, because the side story would be in Germany. I look down at the timer on our acoustic set. We had power play at the end. I look down at the timer. I see we have 50 seconds left. And I want to explain to Germans what this song really was about. But then my mind switched 50 seconds. They're German. They don't care about hockey. How are you going to sum it up to really get what you're trying to say? And then you look over and Kevin Young's watching you talk. You say all the wrong things. And then you walk off stage and then he really just like, so what are you trying to say there? Like, it just like gave me such a hard time. Man, there's 3 of us that are Canadian and we love hockey.
I don't know. I'm from Georgia.
And Jason came up to me one day and said, I had this cool line about put the devil in the box. How cool would it, like, how open are we to maybe doing a hockey song? Would that be hilarious? I'm like, if you can tell me why you want to do that song and we can twist it away, I think it would also show people that, you know, yes, our songs are biblical and we want to use it for encouraging and glorify God. I think having fun at doing your craft and what God has given to you is also a way to glorify God too. So he goes, I had the idea of like in hockey, a power play is, you know, when one team does a bad no, and they lose a guy, so there's 5 people on the ice against 4. You know, Christ defeated death, and he put death in the box. So technically, it's 5-on-4. We will always have God on our side, and we will always have the upper hand against the enemy. No matter what he tries to do, even during that, we're going to just go past them, and we're going to win, and we're already winning. And I was like, I like that. Let's write a hockey song. And who better to write a hockey song than with Josiah and Andrew? And they loved it. They loved it. We only had 1 line for this song. And we had a bunch of other songs that we sent them. Like, what do you guys want to do? We're going to do 2 songs with you. And they're like, this one and power play. I'm like, but there's barely anything for power play. They're like, we don't care. We like the idea. Yeah. I want to encourage people to, again, like, man, you have God on your side. And with God, all things are possible. And no matter what situation you're in, it looks like you're ready to fail or you're ready to be beaten. You're not, because death has already been beaten. And God put death in the box. And he was forever on your side and pushing you forward and helping you get to the next part of life and pushing past the barriers that are in your way and beating the enemy to the ground.
So are those 2 singles going to be on the next album?
Yeah, absolutely. Those 2 singles will go on the next record, and we'll release at least 1 more single before the record comes out. We're currently in the middle of being in the studio finishing this record. So we have them all written. We have extra songs written. So we're trying to figure out which ones make the record, which ones possibly go on deluxe. And yeah, I'm very excited for the songs that are coming on this record. We're hitting a different feel from No Surrender. I think we're just talking about like practical things that each of us go through that's a little more in depth than what our last record was, where we got songs that we want to talk about, like chronic illnesses or just things that you go through personally. Like, why do you feel that way and where does God play in that? We have songs that talk about the persecuted church, songs that we don't really hear a lot of, but we're really excited to put out there and try to use it as, 1, to open people's eyes, and 2, to encourage them. And we have songs in there that hopefully will have people step back and really evaluate where they are in life and maybe even decide to surrender their life to God and start a new life. So I'm excited for what's to come.
Patreon.
Yeah, we went with Patreon. I think we took a year and a half to build this Patreon because we wanted to make sure we did it right. We want to make sure we have content already stocked up and ready. We talked to Josiah a lot, figure out what works best that they've seen in Disciples Patreon. So yeah, our Patreon, BTB Underground, just creating a community of people who enjoy our music and enjoy our ministry and love what we do, and it gives them another outlet to support us even more. When it comes to gas or tolls or airplane tickets or creating more atmosphere things on stage or making records, all these kind of things cost money. So we said, well, I think this is a great way, instead of making GoFundMes all the time and asking people just to give us money, let's make something that we can also give back to them. So our Patreon has 4 different tiers. We have audios, we have videos, we have segments that we break down a song and talk about like the whole writing, the thought process, the writing, the recording, what we like live about it. We do a song every month. Sheldon does the drums when he talks about like different parts of the song. He breaks down pieces to like 70% speed, 80% speed, 100%. Kind of features certain drum stuff, and then I'll kind of do like a little devotional. So it's similar to Disciples, but then we have a couple other things. We have a hangout. We just have fun and talk about random stuff, and then we give perks to fans, discount codes, free merch, opportunities for new merch, sneak peek at new music. So it's all there and on our Patreon, BTB Underground, and it's you can go check it out and join it. It would help support us a lot.
Go to the website.
Website is beholdthebelovedmusic.com.
I heard about a Christmas song.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Yeah.
Have you dropped the name of it yet?
No, but
we need an exclusive.
We could give you exclusive. So we didn't like the idea of doing another Christmas song. It's just like it's not helpful, I guess you could say, to us. If anything, it's just people like to hear a new Christmas song. But for us to go through paying for recording and time to write it and do all these things, it's not feasible. We told people if they want to pre-order Power Play jerseys, like hockey jerseys, we'll take all the proceeds of that, and if we can get to enough, we will make a Christmas song. Well, we sold all these jerseys, and now we have enough money to record this Christmas song. So we wrote this song. It's called Bethlehem Star, and we are literally going the week after the first weekend of November into the studio. And then it's going to be released probably a week or two after that. So late November, it's going to come out, and it's just a song that talks about us being the Bethlehem Star. Like, we want to be those people who go out there and tell people about Jesus and tell them how good he is and how great he is and how powerful he is. And so for us to be witnesses, for us to go out and speak the truth and be what the Bethlehem Star was in the Christmas story. So it turned out to be a really beautiful song. We didn't want to do another cover, and Jason's like, I really have this idea of writing this song and just making it meaningful, and it would be cool to do original. So I'm like, let's do an original. So I'm excited for it. Yeah.
So we wouldn't have this song if it wasn't for hockey jerseys.
That's right. I'm not gonna lie. You would not have had this song if I said I don't know if it's worth us.
You didn't think you were gonna sell those hockey jerseys, did you? You were hoping you didn't.
I thought. Listen. I thought we would sell a couple.
Like, what's the hardest thing there would be to sell? I don't think anybody would spend that much money on a hockey jersey.
I actually
don't have to write that song.
And I wish we could have made those cheaper than what they were, but
blank jerseys are expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive shirts, but I thought we'd sell a couple.
Yeah, just kidding around, giving you a hard time.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It'll be a good, fun Christmas song, and who knows what'll happen? It might just blow up. I don't even know. I just don't want to play it. I don't want to play Christmas music live.
Well, you don't have to play it live, except maybe if you have like a special Christmas show.
Yeah.
I mean, look what ABR does, man. In December, they'll play their Christmas songs, and that's it.
That's true.
Just that one time a year.
I'm not Mr. Scrooge. I love Christmas.
All right. Drum roll, please. Eternal Echoes.
Yeah. Eternal Echoes was something that me and Kelly, my wife, who people know her from being our manager. She also runs the merch table a lot, if not all the time. And she runs our women's ministry, My Beloved. So she is a busy person. And in 2 years, it feels like God has done so much with us as a ministry and a band that some bands, it takes 5 to 10 years just to experience what we experience. And I still don't look at us as like a staple in our genre. But like, we try to work hard. We try to play as many shows. We try to do things like what God has for us to do. And we have a lot of up and coming bands randomly messaging us, messaging Kelly as our manager and asking questions, messaging me and asking questions. Hey, like, how do you go about doing this? Or how did you guys do this? And it was just a lot of, resource questions and how to get. And I remember when we were a younger band, I would reach out to Josiah and I would reach out to these people and be like, how'd you guys do this? Or how do we go about doing this? What's the most professional way to do this? And So because we had so many bands reaching out to us, Kelly was just getting a little overwhelmed. She's like, man, I want to help everybody, but like I also got to work on what we're doing. So we're like, we prayed about it, and we really felt like God was just kind of like what happened with My Beloved, about all these women coming to our merch table and developing friendships with Kelly. Then we made a women's ministry. We're like, what if we made this label to where we can help bands with these questions, help them with resources that we've spent years developing friendships with certain resources that are more affordable than going straight to Nashville or going to these other popular distributors that these bigger bands are using. What if we kind of gave what we have, which is like something affordable, and kind of help them? Because the most discouraging thing as a new artist is to try to develop, your merch, to try to develop booking shows and all these kind of things step by step without pouring tons and tons of money out. And then you pour all this money out and you haven't built a foundation of fans or supporting staff. So we're just kind of there to help whoever needs help where they need help, and doing it at the right moments and trying to help them when they're ready to release music or where they need to go to record or make merch or anything. Use the resources that we have and provide it to them and help them get rolling, and teaching them that once you have the ball rolling, it's about keeping it rolling. So it's just different things that we're trying to help up and coming bands or bands that have been in it for a while that just can't seem to figure out the right, what do you want to call it, like formula. I just feel like we've been blessed to find out the right formula, how to get from A to B to B to C to C to D to where we are today. And we still have growing to do, but I want to make this genre great. There's so much that this genre has done for me and that I see it do for other people. Like we can provide something that, I'm not throwing shade, but we can provide something that CCM artists can't do. They're focused on other things, and our focus is just like, if you're broken, if you don't know who Jesus is, if you know who Jesus is, but you're still stuck in a life of sin, and like we were there too, and this is the power of God that's done in our life. That's what this genre can provide, bringing hope to the hopeless and playing shows that are not always in a church and all these different areas, and bringing a sound of rock to people who don't like Christian music but like rock music. So as long as this genre grows and has incredible artists, up and coming new artists that have a heart for ministry over trying to be popular, over trying to make money, over trying to be famous, they want actual ministry, helping them to get to the next level, then we'll make this genre blow up again. And if it gets bigger, that helps all of us. And I just view this as we're all in it together, so why not help each other out? You know what I mean?
Amen. Last week I interviewed a husband and wife that have a band called Circadia, and he said that he was looking to pick the brain of a more established artist. And I immediately thought of you in the new label. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah. Yeah, he already reached out. We already had a Zoom call with him.
Perfect. You're a step ahead of me.
Yeah, so we're probably going to be working with them, and we'll probably start next year. It will make the most sense.
I find a lot of fulfillment into pouring into other people, and it builds all of us up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially when you experience it. Like I've experienced it so much with how many different people have poured into me and us as a band for us to be able to be where we're at. I tell you all the time, if it wasn't for knowing you and the things that you do, we wouldn't be at places like Loud and Proud. You know what I mean? If we wouldn't know who John Stafiri is from some sort of rock show, I don't even know if we would be where we're at now. Like, he's helped us in so many different ways. If we wouldn't know Josiah and Josiah wouldn't pour into us, we wouldn't have incredible music. And just, it's about pouring into others and sharing your knowledge and experience to help them get to the next level. So that's what it's about.
That's what it's about, for sure. You just mentioned the Loud and Proud Festival in Germany. I was kind of curious about something. And then not just because I'm part of Loud and Proud, but how has the Loud and Proud Festival experience changed your band?
Ooh, man, how has it changed our band? Obviously, it's one of the biggest opportunities that we get to do, and we love it. I think it's a huge encouragement to us just to know that God is doing some like awesome things. And sometimes we feel like we're just in a rut pushing and like, oh, I'm always like in the grind to go further and further. And it almost feels like the fan base in Germany is way different.
Yeah.
It's very encouraging to us, and we love that. But also, I think each of us had opportunities to talk to different bands that we would never have the opportunity to talk to in like a personal setting. Like we could probably see these bands in other festivals, but it's like in a passing. Hey, how's it going? Here's my name, whatever. And then, you're always doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we've had opportunities to sit and have lunch and just talk about music, but also just talk about life and learn from each other about different aspects of music and different aspects of life. And it's been really cool because we've been able to talk to bands we look up to that are still in it, and then bands who are like legendary who've been in it from the beginning. And yeah, it's as us a band, we get to take some things that we learn and apply it. It's really cool. It's just, I think that personalism with other bands and the encouragement of other bands as well as the crowd is like, it helps us. I think it's a refresher. I know it's tiring that whole week, but we come home like refreshed and like, I'm ready to go on 6 tours right now. And like, it's like the end of the year, the end of the season, but like I'm rejuvenated and like I want that passion that we see there, because we tell people all the time on interviews or whatever that they don't get a lot of Christian rock there, like shows, you know what I mean? Here we have them everywhere. It's like we're desensitized to it. But when we go to Germany, the passion and the people just going all out, I'm like, oh, I want to bring that here. Like, what can we do? And so we literally came back and like, what can we do in our set that's different? What can we do here that can maybe just be a breath of fresh air, something new, or hey, this band, we saw them do this. So yeah, I had some pretty cool talks at Loud and Proud, and we have cool talks here in the U.S. all the time. But like, I don't know, it's just like I feel like because we're there at the venue all day.
Yeah,
it's a lot of great conversations. That energy in there is just insane, and that the fact that they know the words in English. And oh my goodness, we got off stage and I was just like, whoo, that was cool. That was fun. I think was one of my top 3 favorite shows, like best shows. And we were all like, dude, that was insane.
By the way, did you see the picture that I took of you praying with that young man?
I did. Sneaky.
Well, you had your eyes shut. But seriously, I took it because I wanted people to see what kind of work was going on there at the festival. I love those kind of sacred moments.
I remember exactly what we were talking about in that picture. And this gentleman approached me and we were just talking casually and getting to know each other. And I said, is there anything I could pray for you for? And throughout the time talking, he goes, oh, I'm not sure. And then he mentioned that, he really has a heart for leading worship. But his fear was that he doesn't want to mess up on stage and then people look at him and him distract people. So his heart was in a right place. Like, I don't want people to view me. I want them to view God in this moment. And if I mess up on that stage, they're going to look at me. And I don't want to distract anybody. I basically poured into him and let him be like, if God has given you this gift, you got to run with this gift. And it's not your job to necessarily worry about people being distracted because you make one minor mistake. Like I said, we make tons of mistakes on stage and half the people don't even know we do it.
That's the whole trick, is you don't show it.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Yeah. And so I was basically telling him, I said, if these people are waiting for you to mess up and then viewing you to mess up and then they're distracted that they can't worship, then I don't think they're there for the right reasons. I mean, you can mess up 3 times, but if people are really there to worship God, they will worship God to somebody singing off key. Like that, it's not your responsibility. You can drag a horse of water, you can't make him drink, kind of deal. And so I was just encouraging him, like God is giving you his gift, God is giving you his heart, and I would encourage you to not let the fear of man stop you from doing what God has you to do. And yeah, we just kind of chatted, and then I just prayed for him that he would build strength and be bold in that, and just to know that he has a purpose. I feel like this year I've had a lot of great conversations with people just talking about like, hey, we all have a purpose and it doesn't matter where we've come from. Like God really wants to use us, and we just need to stop being fearful of our mistakes or fearful of what other people think. So that was it was a really cool moment. We had a lot of cool moments at Europe, stuff like that, but I enjoyed that. I was with that gentleman for a while, just chatting. So yeah.
While you were there, didn't you do a couple of shows outside of Loud and Proud? I remember you telling me something about you and Chaotic doing something.
We did one. Yeah, we did one extra with Chaotic, and then we did an acoustic by ourselves somewhere. So we were with Chaotic on Tuesday at a church, and then Wednesday we were by ourselves played acoustic at, do you know Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, we played at his place.
How did that go?
It was Awesome. It was awkwardly awesome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, yeah, Tuesday was just like a show. Like, man, I tell you what, going off trails a little bit, we've brought Chaotic on tour with us before, and I always tell Travis, I said, you know what? The hardest thing for me to do is to play after you guys. I said, I hate it.
We talked about this in Germany.
Yes. It's so on Tuesday, it was perfect because they were the last band. So it's like my talk was the setup, and then his talk was the knock 'em down kind of thing. And it worked out.
Yeah, perfect combo.
But Wednesday, like, we went to Thomas's house. He has this like huge, like, I don't even know what you call it. We called it a man cave. It's like a huge garage barn. I don't know. He tried to invite like a lot of people from church and a lot of youth, but apparently the youth like had already something booked school wise or whatever, so they wouldn't be making it. But he invited a bunch of coworkers and other people, and he said, I'm a little nervous. I said, you don't have to be nervous. He goes, there's a lot of people who do not know who Christ is. There's a lot of people who choose not to be believers that are coming tonight. I'm like, thanks, no pressure. But it was really cool. We did a acoustic set. We built like a set list. We took it easy. We talked a little bit in between songs. Half of them didn't know what I'm saying, which is fine. And then his daughter was an interpreter for like the middle section when I actually spoke. And I kind of everything that was talked about, what all the songs we chose, what they all like, summary of why we do what we do, and a little bit of my testimony. And man, Thomas was, after it all said and done, Thomas was just filled with like a joy. And he's such a kind man, and shaking our hands, giving us hugs, and like really, we knew him for one day and we felt like family. And he said, there's coworkers who don't know who Christ is who I saw crying tonight, and that's what it's all about. Wow. And I was like, that's what we're here to do, make people cry, man. Like that. I love doing plugged in sets, but sometimes those acoustic sets are a little more chill, laid back, and deeper. You just get deeper into things, and it just meant it was a special night. It meant a lot. But I think I told you this, but going back to the Tuesday night, coolest story would have been after our set, a gentleman approached me and just said, hey, you had good music. I was like, thanks. And he goes, by the way, I'm an atheist. And I said, okay, that's okay. And at that moment, he just stood there. And I was like, oh, God, please help me here. like, tell me what to say, because I haven't really navigated this water before in the setting. Yeah. And I was like, just tell me what to say here, God. And so he just stood there, and we just talked about music. And then I said, hey, can I just ask you like a little bit about like your life or whatever? And he just opened up right away about like suicidal thoughts and just things are going bad. And I said, can I ask you? And if I can't ask you, that's fine. We don't have to talk about this, but can I ask you why you're choosing to be atheist? He said a lot of bad things have happened in my life. Like my mom has died, my sister has died. And I said, so you wonder if there is a God, why he would let that? He goes, yeah, exactly. Like, why would he let that stuff happen? And I said, I'm not going to lie. I totally understand you. And I don't blame you at all. I actually appreciate and respect that instead of saying you're a Christian and living another life, that you are just, you know where you're at this moment. But I said, if you're at this moment in life where you are depressed beyond all measures and you are struggling with life, then what would it hurt for you to open yourself up and maybe try this God thing? And I said, and I'll be honest with you, you're not going to leave here tonight feeling brand new. It might not happen tonight. It might not happen in a week or two. But I said, it's a relationship kind of building thing. So I said, do you have any siblings? And he goes, yeah. I said, that first day you talk to your siblings, you don't really know their voice, but you know them for a while, you build a relationship, they call you on the phone, you know it's them. I said the same things with God. The first couple of times, you're not going to hear God's voice, you're not going to recognize it, but the more you spend with him, the more you'll recognize it. And then he went in for chaotic set, and in the middle of the set, Travis asked people to, if they want to accept Christ that night, and he was one of the people to come down and accept Christ. And it was just, I got to go in the middle there and lay my hands on him and just pray with him. And yeah, it's moments like that is why I love doing this. I love playing on stage, don't get me wrong, but I feel like the most memorable things comes after. And that was one of the coolest things.
Amen. I don't think anything else needs to be said. So with that, good night, and I hope to see you on the road.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more great music, and check out my blog page on the Solid Rock Radio website for my guests' social media links. If you've missed any of my past interviews, you can find them uploaded to podcast.solidrockradio.org. Have a wonderful week, and let's be kind to one another.